you ever wondered if oyster mushrooms breathe like humans? It sounds almost unbelievable, right? But the truth is, these fascinating fungi share more similarities with us than most people realize. In this video, we're diving into the mysterious world of oyster mushrooms, uncovering the science of how mushrooms breathe, and answering the big question: do oyster mushrooms really breathe like humans? Stick around, because the answer will change the way you look at fungi forever. Let's start with the basics. When we think of breathing, we picture humans inhaling oxygen through lungs, exhaling carbon dioxide, and repeating that cycle endlessly to stay alive. Breathing, after all, is one of the most essential functions of life. But here's where things get interesting. Oyster mushrooms and fungi in general also rely on oxygen. That's right. Just like us, they need oxygen to survive. So in a sense, yes, oyster mushrooms really do breathe. But the way they do it is completely different from humans. And that's where the science gets exciting. Oyster mushrooms don't have lungs, noses, or a respiratory system like we do. Instead, they absorb oxygen directly through their cells. Imagine billions of tiny little doors on the surface of the mushroom and its underground network, called the mycelium. Oxygen passes through these cell walls, fueling the mushroom's growth and energy. And just like humans, they release carbon dioxide as a waste product. If you've ever seen mushrooms growing in a closed container or a bag, you'll know they can fill that space with carbon dioxide pretty quickly. So, while oyster mushroom respiration doesn't look like human breathing, the process has striking similarities. Now here's a hook for you. What if I told you mushrooms breathe more like animals than plants? It sounds strange, but it's true. Plants take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen through photosynthesis. Mushrooms don't do that. Instead, oyster mushrooms and fungi consume oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Exactly what we humans and other animals do. That's one of the reasons why fungi are considered closer relatives to animals than plants on the tree of life. Surprising, isn't it? Let's pause here and think about it. You're surrounded by fungi every day. Whether it's oyster mushrooms in your kitchen or microscopic fungi in the soil beneath your feet. And every single one of them is quietly breathing, exchanging gases with the environment. The fact that oyster mushrooms breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide makes them more like us than we often realize. So the next time you saute oyster mushrooms in a pan, remember? You're cooking something that breathes, just like you. But the story doesn't stop with the mushroom itself. To really understand how mushrooms breathe, we need to explore the mycelium. Think of mycelium as the root system of the mushroom, a massive underground web of white threads that stretches out through soil, wood, or decaying matter. This is where most of the breathing happens. Mycelium is constantly absorbing oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. And because the network is so vast, it plays a huge role in ecosystems. Oyster mushroom mycelium doesn't just breathe for itself. It helps recycle nutrients, break down organic matter, and keep entire ecosystems alive. Here's another hook to keep you thinking. What if oyster mushrooms could actually help clean the air we breathe? While they don't produce oxygen like plants, their ability to filter and break down harmful materials in the environment is mind-blowing. Mycologists have discovered that oyster mushroom mycelium can even help break down pollutants, plastics, and toxins in the soil. So, while they breathe like humans in terms of oxygen in and carbon dioxide out, they also have this superpower of cleaning up the planet. That's one reason why oyster mushrooms are studied not just as food, but as environmental superheroes. Now, let's compare more closely. Humans rely on organs like lungs, blood, and a circulatory system to move oxygen around the body. Oyster mushrooms don't have any of that. Instead, their respiration is decentralized. Every cell takes in oxygen directly from its surroundings. It's almost like if every single cell in your body could breathe on its own, without needing lungs or blood to deliver oxygen. Pretty wild, right? And yet, despite these differences, the similarities are undeniable. Both humans and oyster mushrooms need oxygen for cellular respiration. Both produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Both rely on this invisible gas exchange to survive. So, when you ask, do oyster mushrooms breathe like humans? The answer is both yes and no. Yes, they breathe oxygen in and release carbon dioxide, just like us. No, they don't have lungs or chests that rise and fall. Their breathing is invisible, silent, and happening at the microscopic level. Here's a quick thought experiment. Imagine holding an oyster mushroom in your hand. It looks still, motionless, almost lifeless. But in reality, it's breathing, just slower and in a way we can't see. The cells inside that mushroom are pulling oxygen from the air, powering its growth, and giving it life. In that moment, you and the mushroom share something profound. You are both alive because of the same invisible process: respiration. Let's keep the story going with another surprising fact. Oyster mushrooms are not only edible and delicious, they're also one of the fastest growing mushrooms out there. And their rapid growth is fueled by their efficient oxygen absorption. If you've ever grown oyster mushrooms at home, you'll know how quickly they expand once they start fruiting. That explosive growth is powered by oxygen intake and the release of carbon dioxide. Without oxygen, they simply couldn't exist. This is also why mushroom farmers have to carefully control air exchange in grow rooms. Too much carbon dioxide can cause oyster mushrooms to grow with long, skinny stems and small caps. With proper airflow and oxygen supply, the mushrooms develop into those beautiful, wide caps we love to cook and eat. So, mushroom respiration isn't just a scientific curiosity. It's the key to cultivating them successfully. Here's another hook. Did you know oyster mushrooms can actually compete with you for oxygen in a closed space? If you keep a bag of fruiting mushrooms in a sealed area, they'll consume oxygen and increase carbon dioxide levels surprisingly fast. That's why ventilation is so important in mushroom cultivation. In a way, oyster mushrooms are literally breathing right alongside you. Now, let's zoom out and think about the big picture. Fungi like oyster mushrooms are essential to life on Earth. Their respiration contributes to the natural cycles of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the environment. They break down dead plants, recycle nutrients, and make ecosystems thrive. Without them, forests couldn't survive, soil would become lifeless, and our planet would look very different. So, do oyster mushrooms breathe like humans? The answer is yes. They breathe oxygen and release carbon dioxide. But they do it without lungs, without noses, and without any visible signs. Their breathing happens at the cellular level, silently fueling their growth and connecting them to the same life-sustaining process that keeps us alive. Let us wrap it up with this thought. The next time you see oyster mushrooms at the market or in your kitchen, take a moment to appreciate them not just as food, but as living organisms that share one of life's most fundamental processes with you. They're part of the same cycle of oxygen and carbon dioxide, part of the same invisible rhythm of life on Earth. And before you go, here's a quick challenge. Share this video with someone who loves science or food, and ask them the question, do oyster mushrooms breathe like humans? See how surprised they are by the answer. If you enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of fungi with me today, make sure to subscribe for more fun science stories and discoveries. Because the natural world is full of mysteries, and we're just getting started.